So we'll start off with the big news that came today at Apple's iPhone 7 event. Mario is coming to mobile. What? Nintendo's making a new game called Super Mario Run, an auto runner Mario for iOS that will come to Android devices sometime after 2016. It's got 3 modes, a classic mode, a battle mode called Toad Battle, where you compete with your friends to get a higher score on the same level within a time limit, and a third mode that hasn't been properly revealed, which seems to be about gathering Toad residents of your own little mushroom kingdom. And those features might even work with My Nintendo in some way. It's a one-time paid game, price TBD, but it seems like you download it for free and get a little demo version, and then from there you buy the full game as a one-time in-app purchase. After the announcement, Nintendo's stock jumped 20% almost immediately, and I believe it's still growing, seeing as this happened in the morning before we record at night. Anyway, you can check out more info and screens at Gamnesia.com, and Nintendo also released an official gameplay trailer after the event, so you can check that out as well. So, Super Mario Run launches sometime in December, and they delayed both the Animal Crossing and Fire Emblem mobile games to 2017 so that they could get this game out first. Wow, that's a lot. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that was just a huge announcement. You know, I wasn't expecting Shigeru Miyamoto to show up at the Apple event at all, and then once he was on the stage, it's like, well, we know what he's going to announce now, because why would Shigeru Miyamoto be at, like, such a huge non-Nintendo event like this unless it was going to be that kind of bombshell?
Yeah, I was actually at work following the Apple event on LiveBlog, because we're a tech company, and so that's something that we do. And I was watching, and they were talking about apps and games, and they're like, there are tons of games on iOS, but there's always been something missing. And I was like, they're not going to. Yeah. And then I see Mario pop up, and it's like, oh my god!
Yeah.
And then Shigeru Miyamoto popped up, and I was totally expecting them to announce something like this at some point, but I was not expecting it to be today, especially since we've been sort of waiting for a long time for NX news, and Nintendo's been really silent on it, and Sony was doing something today.
Yeah, for sure.
And so this was just a really huge, really nice surprise.
Yeah, I bet Sony can't be too happy either, because Nintendo's kind of like stealing the news cycle from them, because they had a conference that pretty much everyone is calling boring, and then Nintendo shows up at someone else's conference and steals the show.
I mean, their whole conference was about HDR compatibility. Like, who could have possibly thought that would be boring?
It's funny, because that was like the most exciting thing about the conference for me. But it was funny, too, because Sony the other day, I think someone was reporting that Sony's even thinking about doing their own mobile games. And here, Nintendo comes sort of even uprooting that announcement. So...
Yeah, well, speaking of which, we might want to focus on Mario in the discussion, too. We haven't even talked about the game yet. What do you guys think?
I mean, it's an auto runner.
I think it's the game that I would have thought Mario would have had on iPhone like 8 years ago. But I mean, maybe not 8 years ago, maybe like 5 years ago. But still.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically what I was expecting.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like we waited all this time, and they gave us what everyone thought they were going to make anyway.
So you're not interested in it?
No, I mean, I'm interested in it. It's just like, really? We had to wait this long for them to make the game everyone thought they were going to make anyway?
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting choice that it's going to be a pay-once experience instead of a sort of pay-as-you-go kind of thing, because every other mobile game they've announced so far is going to have microtransactions, so...
Yeah, that was a good choice, I think, especially for Mario. You know, like, what really can you do? Like, pay to get a mushroom? Come on.
Yeah. Right.
But I think it's an interesting choice, and a good choice too, that they're doing this like demo unlock thing as an in-app purchase instead of just making it a $5 game at the front of the App Store, because I think that really hinders people from trying it in the first place. Because it's going to be a free app, I think a lot more people are going to be downloading it, and then...
Yeah, if you see a free Mario app, just about everyone's going to download that and try it out, so...
Right, and then, the number of people that you'll convert from the free app is going to be a lot greater than the number of people that you'll convince to buy a paid app from the get-go.
Mm-hmm. One thing I was sort of surprised to see in the gameplay is that move where Mario kind of, like, lifts himself over obstacles and enemies.
Yeah, he leapfrogs Goombas in there.
Not totally sure how that works and whether I'm excited about that or not.
Yeah, so I was wondering if that kind of signifies that Mario might not take damage in this game.
Yeah, it seems like it's a sort of score attack game, and so it makes sense that maybe the damage doesn't matter as much as it might slow you down a little bit.
But at the same time, how can you not have damage in Mario? How can you not have...
Well, and it's like, why not have damage in Mario?
Right. I was wondering if... So there's the Toad Battle mode, which the local multiplayer or online multiplayer,
seems
something
like
that.
leaderboard
Seems like a ghost
thing.
attack kind of thing. Yeah. Anyways, you challenge friends one-on-one, and I was thinking if there's someone who's like one of us who's really good at the game, and then someone like my mom, let's say, who tries this Mario Run game and wants to challenge me, if there's damage and I get through the whole course, super high score, and she dies in 10 seconds, like that's not going to be even close to a fair challenge.
Sure.
So I'm wondering if they are looking at scenarios like that and saying, well, let's have him leapfrog enemies, he doesn't get damaged, you always make it to the end of the goal. But then they want this sort of parallelism between the battle mode and the main mode because, you know, if the mechanics don't translate one-to-one, it can be confusing for more casual audiences.
Yeah.
And
The battle mode actually doesn't have goals. It's just a level, and you just rack up points by collecting coins or, like, doing dangerous jumps, basically.
There's a timer that runs out, though.
Yeah, there's a timer, but there's no flagpole in any of the battle
Right.
modes.
Well, and I think Colin's point was more about the controls should be the same, which I totally agree with.
Yeah, because if someone dies in 10 seconds, you know, it's not really as much of a fun experience. But I do think that whereas the normal mode has those goal points and it's got levels and you progress from one to the next, I do think it makes sense to have damage there because, you know, otherwise everyone's going to complete the level. You maybe just will do it with a bad score. And I guess if you get a bad score, you maybe can't move on, but that just doesn't seem nearly as fun to me.
Yeah. One thing that kind of surprised me was they have a feature where you can hit a certain type of block or tile, or I'm not sure how they're describing it, and then you change directions. I thought that was kind of clunky because I'd rather just swipe in a different direction if I want to change directions. I think that's simpler and requires less sort of wonky level design.
I worry maybe that if someone taps the screen and like the car goes over a bump or something, you know, then
Maybe.
you know, I can see why they just want it to be as simple as possible.
Well, it sounds to me like this will be sort of like a level design thing where, you know, you're always running right, so you have to hit the block if you want to, like, you know, get something that requires you to go left, I guess.
Yeah.
But, you know, we haven't really seen this feature in action, so it's hard to say whether it's going to be sort of implemented in cool level design ways or not.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, I think it will. Like, Nintendo is the kings of level design. I don't think that that's going to be an issue. So all in all, overall thoughts: good, bad, ugly.
I'm going to agree with the investors and say it's very good because this will probably be the first encounter with Mario that a lot of people have who play games on mobile devices. And that's totally the point of Nintendo's mobile push. So.
Yep, yeah, I agree.
And we've talked before, too, about how Nintendo really needs to do stuff like that in order to get, like, new gamers involved, especially the young ones, because people right now are growing up without any familiarity or nostalgia with Nintendo's characters, and so, you know, 20 years down the line, when they've milked it all out of the 20 to 30-year-olds, you know, who's going to be left?
Yeah.
And then whenever Nintendo launches that new form of Mario they've been teasing that they're working on, hopefully they can convert some of those mobile players over to the MX.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And definitely AAA Platinum Plus on the decision to announce it at the Apple event. Really, really classy.
Oh, absolutely, for sure. Hello everybody, thank you for listening to this Nintendo Week clip, NWC. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to us here on YouTube for more highlights and discussion videos from Nintendo Week podcast, or subscribe to us on iTunes for weekly breakdowns of all your Nintendo news, discussion segments on subjects, games, and more, and tons of other features. Thanks for listening, and we will see you tomorrow with another NWC.